Welcome to this look at new mods on Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. It's Thursday the 2nd of July, we have new mods and we have some updates. The updates are as follows. So top row, Purbeck Valley Farm by TomX55 has had an update that's to do with animal triggers and various different fixes, bug fixes and various things have been done on that. The Pavelli pack by ModPassion, the Aduranti pack by ModPassion have both had updates. The Lizard Car trailer by Kazdan18 has been updated. The Kuhn interactive sprayers by Holger Sengstock and the Safa MES 400 by Lucas Leveler have all had updates today. So let's get on with it. Are you ready to be confused and bamboozled? Buckle in. Right in front of us we have got the Stara ASA laser CR-DCR 13 by Centro Sul. This has got me puzzled. No, I mean it's not a major puzzlement, but it is what it is. This does say in the Modhub ASA laser CR-DCR 13 cultivator with plough function. So in my head I thought, oh, a cultivator that we could turn ploughing on or off on. That's pretty cool. No, it's just a plough. Baffled me a little bit. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice bit of kit. Incredibly detailed, really nicely modelled. And weirdly, saying it's a cultivator with plough function in the Modhub, you find it to buy under ploughs, and when you actually use it, it gives you a ploughed state. So yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, that. Anyway, it's here. It's under ploughs. I did wonder if there were two options or something on this. 28,000 to buy. This will use 6 slots, 4.7 meters wide. It will run at 9 miles per hour. Some of the other ploughs are at 7. Most of the ploughs are at 7. So 9 mile an hour is not too bad, to be fair, if you can plough at 9. Increase speed, increase productivity, etc., etc. There are no options available. 220 horsepower required to pull it, which for a plough again isn't too bad for a 4.7 meter. So we'll just have a quick look under cultivators, because I thought maybe there's a cultivating version of it. Couldn't find one under there. Disc harrows either. It's just it's a plough. So it's a little bit misleading on the Modhub, but other than that. So that's it in transport position, up on its wheels. The chisel plough sections are right up out the way. The weird thing is having the baskets on the back as well. You'd think that maybe it would give you the ploughed state but look like cultivating. So ploughed state, cultivated texture. But actually what we'll do is we'll drop it down. You'll see the ploughed state go across the field compared to the other ones I've got already. This does also allow you the ability to create fields if you want to do so. So if we now lift it up, actually if we drop it down and I'll go off the field, nothing happens. If I do, if I'm correct, L1 and triangle, that's what it normally is, isn't it? And now we go forward, we can create our own fields like you can with most ploughs. But being able to go, like I say, 9 miles an hour, it doesn't seem to like a lot of difference, but over an entire field, an extra 2 miles an hour, it's going to get the job done quicker. Not too bad at all. So there we go. That's the Stara ASA laser CR-DCR 13 by Centro Sul. Moving on. Now we haven't got many mods today, only 5. That said, the ones we have got a lot of options. And those options can be a tad confusing, to say the least. Next, we've got these very funky colours. We can change the colours, of course. It's a bit of a ModPassion day today, actually, with the updates and mods that are available. This is the Crosetto pack, but obviously when you go into the Modhub, because it's on console now, this is the Lizard C pack Crosetto. These trailers are manual or auto load bale trailers. You can go with either option. They're 6 slots each. We've got a double axle there. There's a triple axle, and there's a quadruple axle. I suppose it's be one axle, two or three, depending if you look at the back axles or all of them combined. But anyway, regardless of that, and there are a few options available for the actual look of the thing. Like I say, it gets a bit mind-boggling. It's clever because this covers pretty much everything. You can stack round bales, not on the stack, which looks like that, on the stack, which puts them the other way and stacks them upright. You can do round bales from 1.3 metres up to 1.8 metre diameters, so the various different balers that do different sizes, these bale trailers will accept them. You can do square bales, standard and large size bales, and that's on each three of these models. That's why it gets confusing, because as you go to each model, all the options are there. So what I will do is show you all the options on one of the models, but those options are the same on each of the subsequent models. It's just the capacity, how many bales you can do, increases with the size of the trailer. Like I said, it's going to get confusing. So now the best thing we can do is just have a look. So under baling technology, we have the three. We've got the PC 14082, which is the double axle, if you want to go like that, 30 grand to buy, like I say, 6 slots each. We've got the PC 240850, the PC 320970. Those numbers obviously have some meaning. I don't know if it's just they just decided to, bang, let's just chuck a load of numbers and letters on the floor and see. We'll just go with that. But anyway, so there are the three sizes, and if you look, that one says 38 bales, that says 38, that says 44. This is where it gets confusing. So 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand, but the options are the same on each of these. I need to make that clear. So options, we can change the main colour, which changes the bed. Fine. We can change the rim colour from silver to grey, so you can have the sort of shiny, or can have it on grey. And the design colour changes the bars like so. Some of the ones there are a bit odd though. We've got Case IH Deutz, but they're all black as far as I can tell. JCB, black, Valtra, Stara. But that does change the uprights. Then we've got the option, manual loading. That's important in a minute, and I'll explain why. If you want it on auto load, we then go on to this. So it says round bales, no stack. So that puts them on their sides. 38 bales up at the top there, 38 bales 1.3 metres. We can then change that to round bales, no stack, again on the side, 18 bales 1.6 metres. We change it again, and it's round bales, no stack, 18 bales 1.8 metres. Told you it was confusing. Then we can move on to round bales, yes, on the stack. So these will stack them up in like columns. This will do 30 bales, 1.3 metres. We then move on to square bales. 30 bales square, 1 metre. Then square bales, the larger ones, 18 of those are 1.3. Honestly, it's going to be a minefield. Basically, with the square ones, it's standard and large. I mean, that's the two. It doesn't do the tiny bales, though. There's not an option for those. And then we're back to manual loading again. So realistically, yeah, the round bales, it's going to be the very small ones, the slightly larger ones, and I think 1.3 is standard, isn't it? Yeah, 1.3 is standard, then we've got larger. It is bonkers. So, wheel choice. We've got Trelleborg, Lizard. Under Trelleborg, we've got 404 500s, AW309 500s, T404 560s, T404 400s, back to the T404 500s. Under Lizards, we've got 385 65s, 295 70s, and back again. So not too many on that. Then we've got configuration. Now this is the back section. Now this is fixed. So those creels on the back are fixed as poles or ramps. But be careful. This is where the manual bit comes in. If you want to be able to use this as a regular trailer, so you can do bales and you want to be able to load things onto it, the ramps I can only get to work if you have it on manual loading. As soon as you put it onto auto loading, those ramps, you don't get an option to raise and lower them. So that just becomes purely aesthetic if you've got auto load on. Ramps or poles, they won't move if you've got auto load on. If you've got manual load on, the ramps will go down, up and down, but those won't. Told you it was confusing. Tension belts, complete or basic? I think basic just puts them across the bed, complete puts them across the bed, and then 2 straps that run the full length of the trailer as well. Then we've got cover, yes or no, and that's these sidebars. You can remove those if you want. So the difference then is, on the next one up, all the options are the same, it's just the amount. So like I say, manual loading, then we're on to larger amounts with these, 38, 22 rather than 18, then 18, then 36 of the upright on the stack, then square at 30, then 18. Was that the same as the last one? Seems to be. And then the much larger one goes up to 44, I think. All the other options are the same. Yeah, 44 bales, round, no stack at 1.3 metres. 24 at 1.6. 22 at 1.8. On the stack, 42. Square bales, 40. Larger ones, 24. Told you it was going to get confusing. So, as it comes to actually, it's going to be a case of, honestly, get yourself a test map and having a fiddle around, because working out which ones you're going to actually want gets a bit tricky. I'm going to open the sidebar on this. So on the trailer itself, we can open cover. If you've got these sidebars on, it says cover. If you have the cover, I can open cover, which does one side. I can open next cover, which puts that one up, puts that one down, and then put it back again. So if you want to go for a more authentic loading operation, you can do that, especially if you've got manual loading on, which is rather nice. But as you can see, there's no option for raising or lowering that back section. There's nothing there that says I can raise or lower it, and I've got it with the creels, not the ramp, so that could be why. So as far as auto loading goes, what we're going to do now is go from operating position, or onto operating position, which loads them up like so. They are now on. How very nice. We can transport them as they are now. I've said this before, these are ethereal bales. They are there but not there. If you want to be able to put the straps on, if I do straps now, fasten tension belts, see the 2 that run across the top? The ones that run across the bottom don't recognise the bales as being there, because technically they're not. So what you have to do is unload onto the trailer. So if I do R1 and unload bales here, drops them onto the trailer, now I can strap them, and the straps will go over the bales, as you can see. It's a little bit of a, it's a bit of a minefield, but that's what it does. So what I want to do now is put it back into operating position. So now we've got our auto load function done again. When it comes to unloading these, we have a few options. Now we can open the cover if you want to go a bit more realistic again. So if we open the cover, like so, I'm going to do this the wrong way, I know I am. To unload bales, L1 and triangle. Now do my right stick to the side, zoom in a little bit. So my right stick to the side, to the left, does it to the left, right to the right if I'm looking this way. I can also go back and forward. This is L1 and right stick. If I now go R1 and right stick, I can also go up and down, and I can rotate. But one thing I can't do though is go below the level of the trailer. It won't let me. If I go down, that's as low as it goes. So when it comes to auto unloading, if I now unload bales, they drop to the floor, which is fine for square bales, but for round bales, they have a tendency to go all over the place when they're dropped from a height. So you do have a few options with regard to unloading. So what we're going to do is disconnect from that one. The next one is a round bale trailer. This was the 1.3 size, so this should be regular bale size. This has got no cover, so it hasn't got the sidebars, and it has got rear ramps, but as you can see again, there's no option to the left to say I can put those ramps down, because it's auto load, it's not a manual load. So unfortunately I can't do anything about that. What I've got to try and do though, it's not going to work particularly well, but it's alright. So I'm going to bring that alongside again, and to load these up I need to put it into operating position, L1, square, On they go, which is very nice. If I strap as they are now, you see the straps go underneath again. If I want the straps to go over them, I have to unload onto the trailer. L1, triangle, unload bales here, triangle again, drops them onto the trailer. Now I can strap them. And it kind of straps over apart from the one that rolled a little bit. If I don't want to strap them, I want to put them back into their ethereal position. Do that, and square, puts them back again. So that's my bales back on the trailer. For unloading, same as it was before. If I want to unload not on the trailer, L1, triangle, then I move them side to side. I can go either way. So L1 and right stick side to side, L1 and right stick up and down, moves them that way. We go quite a long way with these as well. So depending on where you are unloading them, it does give you a bit of option. Then R1 and right stick, I can then do the up and down. Again, if you're putting these into a hay loft, that can be quite handy, but they won't go any lower than that. So with round bales, like I said, as soon as you unload now, L1 and unload here, once they hit the floor, they have a tendency to kind of, especially if you've got 38 bales, they hit the floor and, you know, all over the place. So I would say just be wary of that. Which brings me on to the last one. And the last one I got as a manual load. So this will not auto-load bales. You have to manually load. But as soon as I hook up to this, you'll notice in the help menu it says unfold bale trailer. So it gives me the option with this one, L1 and D-pad down to put those ramps down, which I couldn't do on the auto loads, but I can do with a manual load. So it's a kind of, I don't know, it's a bit of a, whilst it has its uses, I suppose you could go into your configuration point, do a bit of work on them, so you could use them for auto load function. If you then want to use it for a transport for vehicles and stuff like that, take it to your workshop trigger, swap it over to manual load, and then, but that just seems a bit of a fuss to me. So it's good, very complicated to get your head around for all the options in the menu. Once you've got your head around it, it kind of makes a bit more sense, and quite a big option as well on the larger one to have like 44 bales on that. That's pretty cool. Sorry if that's mind bending, it is a little bit confusing and I do apologise for that, but that's unfortunately just the way it is. Moving on from the Crosetto pack, or the Lizard Sea pack by DD ModPassion, we're going to move on to this one here. Now this is cool. Not that the others aren't cool, but this is cool. This is the Kuhn VB2190 with attachment to the Ursus Z568, which is this here. Now these actually come in a pack kind of together. This is by Camelos0397. So this baler, round baler, comes with an attachment, an attacher there for putting this bale wrapper on the back, which means you can bale and wrap all in one go. I know we have baler wrappers, but they are quite expensive sometimes. This gives you the option to be able to do this. Now, unlike the fast bale, you still have to manually unload. Then this will pick it up straight away, wrap it, and then you drop it off. There's a bit of manual manipulation of that, but it does give you a few options. The other thing I thought straight away was, oh, I wonder if that attacher will work with other bale wrappers. So I grabbed the new one from the Covenant pack, the DLC. It works perfectly with that one. I grabbed the one from the Anderson pack, not so much. Unfortunately, with the Anderson pack one, it doesn't swing out. It unfolds, but kind of stays almost directly behind the tractor. The problem with, or behind the baler, the problem with that is the bale comes out and hits that the wrapper. With this one, this does unfold, so the actual wrapper swings away to the side, which means that when the bales do come off, they go onto that wrapper really nicely. So you can, I think there's another couple of wrappers available, but it will hook up to other wrappers, not just the one that comes in the pack. I thought I would kind of point that out, because there is a modded Giants version of this Ursus, but this comes in the pack. So this you will find under baling technology. And here they are, with the symbol at the top on each of those. You've got the VB2190 for 58 grand. It does 4,000 litre bales, runs at 68 miles per hour. No, it's 68 horsepower, runs at 12 miles per hour. Now, if you're not using a wrapper, that you can use that as just an independent, standalone baler. That will do straw bales, grass bales, hay bales, no problem at all. But if you want to attach it on the wrapper on the back, the wrapper's only 8,200. So you've got a baler wrapper combo for, what's that, 66,200? Yeah, 66,200, as opposed to some of the other baler wrappers which are well over 100 grand. So it's not a bad combo. There are no options available in so much as like colour and all that kind of stuff. We'll set up standard or narrow, and with the wrapper we can change the foil colour, which is kind of a pretty standard thing, but there's only the 4 main options you've got there. So I've got it hooked up. So we can disconnect like so and use it as a standalone baler, no problem at all, then come up later, hook it up, unfold the baler, which does that, and as you can see the bale will come directly out the back, directly onto the wrapper, no problem at all. With the Kuhn end, same thing, the wrapper slides slightly to the side so it will do it perfectly. The Anderson unfortunately sits directly behind with the pickup over to one side. It doesn't quite work, which is a pity, but again, it is what it is. So what we'll do is turn this on, pick up down, get our full bale, open the back onto the ground, close the back. We can get on with our next bale while it wraps that one. Unfortunately I've got quite a lot in these swaths, so now the only downside is when it finishes wrapping it does take a little while to wrap, and I'm waiting for it to finish wrapping now. But like I say, I've got big swaths on this, but then I've got to swap. This is the only downside, so I've then got to swap to the back and then I can unload that, so it kind of unloading both at the same time. Which is kind of alright. It's, if you had less in the swaths you wouldn't have to sit around and wait, but it does give you the option, like I say, if the swaths are smaller you're not going to be waiting as long. So I've already hit my limit again and I'm waiting again for it, but that's not a problem. And then what will happen is then once I hit L1 and triangle to unload, it will unload that, it will also unload the baler out, get ready to go again. So I'll do it again, L1 and triangle opens both, that drops off, that drops out, close it again, and we are good to go. Like I say, I think probably because I've got too much in the swaths it just doesn't look particularly pretty, but it will do it. It does work. It will speed up the process. If you don't like having to bale then come back and wrap, and you don't want to fork out an absolute bomb for a baler wrapper, it's a nice option, and because it works with other wrappers as well, I just think that's, you know, a bit of a result. That's my Camelos 0397. And there we go. I'm not straight on that at all. So there we go. That's the Kuhn VB2190 with attacher for the Ursus Z568. Very nice. Moving on. Right, this is where things get interesting. We've got the new Case IH AFS Connect Magnum, the 2020 edition Case Magnum. This is by KarlFarms, and wow, when I said minefield, if you thought the autoload bale trailers were complicated, blimey. The options available on this are staggering. I mean, Mitas with great big flotation tyres, wow. I mean, look at the design of that. That's a gorgeous looking tractor. Really nice. We can have it American spec, we can have EU spec, we can have it with extra lights, as you can see them just up there. There's some really cool features on the inside, which we'll get to in a second. We've got tracks. We've got a quad track version. There's a triple rear wheel option. It's going to take me 20 minutes just to go through the options on this thing, but blimey, what a bit of kit. This goes up to 400 to 50 horsepower. The standard Magnum we have goes to 435, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure it does. This one, the newer version, goes up higher. So it's got all the new design cues for the 2020 version. Very nice indeed. But we're going to have to just get on with it. We've got a lot to look at. So this comes under large tractors. The AFS Connect Magnum, 295 grand for the base model. Let's just put that out there right away. That's for the base model. Right. We can change the rim colour from standard grey to black to white, which is very nice indeed. We can change the main colour from case red to black to a silver, which is kind of a greyish silver. I'm going to change it back though to red, I think. And then design colour we can change, and that changes the seat inside. So the seat colour changes from red to black to grey. Inside, that's your design colour. Now we get onto our tyre choices. I'm not going to read every single one out, I'll be totally honest with you. We have got Trelleborg, we've got Michelin, Mitas, and back to Trelleborg. Under Trelleborg, standards, wides, standards, wheel weights, wides, wide and weights. Then we get onto all sorts of crazy stuff. So we've got twins, rear twins, 30-inch row crops. So this is more the American spec stuff. 36-inch row crops, 30-inch row crop with weight, 36-inch with weight, 30-inch with rear jewels, 36-inch rear jewels, 30-inch row crop back jewel, 36 back jewel, 30-inch row crop jewels all round, 36 all round. Then we go wider again. Then we're on to crawler track. Crawler track with, I think it's reverse tread. Then we're on 3 metre row crop. Row track. Row track jewels on the front. A wider track on the back and a wider on the front. Quad track. Quad track with wide treads. Quad row track on really wide. And then back to standard. Then Michelin. Let's go again. I'm not going to say them all, I'm just going to go through the options. You can kind of look. Oh, sorry. That one with the Michelins is where you get your triple. So if you want the triple, it's under Michelins. Then Mitas. Now Mitas, we haven't got as many. We've got floaters and floaters with weights. And that's it. Whew. Right. On to beacons. We can have none, left, right, or both. Front, we can have fenders on the front, fenders front and rear, fenders just on the rear, or no fenders at all if you want to go down that route. Then we've got attachers at the back, standard or quick hitch, like you get on the quad tracks and some of the big ones. And then windows, we've got regular, we've got light tint, we've got dark tint, back to regular. We've then got the Magnum 250 at 320 horsepower, the 280 at 350, the 310 at 380 horsepower, the 340 at 410 horsepower, the 380 at 435 horsepower, and then the 400 at 451 horsepower. Very nice. Then back again to the 250. So yeah, 451 horsepower as high as it go. Then front attachments, we can have none. We can have it with a front 3-point link. We can have it with a weight rack. £600 weight, £1,200, £1,800, back to none. Then we've got flashers. You can have the American spec standard on the back. We can go with EU, so you can have the EU boards that come out, or none at all, and then back to standard, the US spec. The extra lights, if we look on the front there, see that? Extra lights, we can have no or yes, and it adds extra lights on there. And that's it, I think. So, as you can see, we've got a load of different options. Flotation one there. This one was the dual row crops with the narrow track, not the wide track. This one I went for the Michelins with the triple on the back. That one I went for the wider tracked quad track version, but not the really wide axled one, just the kind of fairly standard one. As far as sounds and all the various different options that this does, let's jump into it. Really doesn't matter. Let's jump in this one. As you can see, it's got the extra light package on the front there as well. So we'll go for our lights. Pretty bright. Beacons on the top two. Sounds really nice. We can fold those away as you can with the EU boards as well. L1 and X folds those and unfolds them. So when we get to indicating, indicators are out on those stalks as well, like so. Right, other options. You might notice inside the cab the steering wheel looks in a bit of a funny position. So if I now open cover, so L1 and open cover, watch inside. Armrest comes down, steering wheel comes down. Oh wow, amazing. What else? Oh yeah, doors, windows, etc, etc. So L1, R1, left stick side to side swivels the seat to 40 degrees. A lot of the newer tractors have that, so if you are running an implement on the back, you haven't got to keep turning around as far. You swing it to the side with cruise control and GPS and stuff on. You can then keep an eye on the implement and stuff behind you without too much hassle, which is amazing. So we can do that with our L1, R1 and left stick side to side. Right stick side to side opens and closes the door. L1, R1 and left stick up and down opens and closes the window and the door if you're terrible at it. So I say, with the PlayStation controller, trying to get it to go one way and the other without adjusting some other things gets a little bit interesting. As you notice with the door, when I open the door, the interior light comes on as well. So let's jump inside and do that, shall we? Let's close the door. Interior light goes off. Interior light comes on. We'll keep our eye down here. If we now close cover, push the steering wheel away, armrest comes up, ready for getting out of the vehicle. When we get back into the vehicle, we can do that, bring it back down again, and we're good to go. Very nice indeed. Displays over here. Let's turn the engine off. So, engine on. That's nice. If we look at the pillar, the little what looks like a small iPhone type tablet, lights, it cycles through like so. +1 for the beacons. Then off. When we drive, everything is changing on the screen. Everything is operating as it should. Very, very nice mod indeed. Now, I've meant to say, I've just remembered, because I just remembered what I was supposed to do on this one. I love the fact that even the case logo's like metallic. Look at that. That's incredible. Maybe that's on all of them. I just never noticed before. Anyway, the Kuhn Baler and Wrapper were 5 slots and 4 slots. Apologies, I forgot to say. Now, these do come with a little bit of a slot tag, so to speak. 53 slots for the first one, then it will drop down. Is it worth it for all the options you get? I would say yes, in all honesty. What I think is incredible is at 53 slots we've got, I lost count of how many options. And then you get a John Deere one that will be 68 slots and doesn't really have that many options available on it. So I'm kind of Would it be nice if it was lower slots? Yeah, of course it would. But wow, I mean, that's my own personal opinion. I know people go, I don't know why he's making such a fuss about. It's just a case Magnum, but it's a lovely case Magnum with loads of options, and it looks phenomenal. So there we go. That's case IH AFS Connect Magnum by KarlFarms. Very nice indeed. Which brings me on to the last of the mods for today. Like I say, only 5 mods, but blimey, there've been a lot of options. And it's this. This is also by ModPassion. This is the container pallets. This is a hook lift IT runner type container trailer. This comes in 3 formats. You can have it for eggs, you can have it for wool, you can have it for milk. You'll find this under tools, under animals. It's 7,800 for each one. Capacities kind of vary. 19,200 litres for, I think it was, I'm trying to think now, it was 19,200 for eggs, 5,670, no, 5,760 for milk, and 8,000 for wool. That's right, so we'll do 8 pallets, so 8,000 for wool. These will use 4 slots for the first one, and then that drops down as well. Options available, we can change the main colour. So if you've got a few of these and you want them specifically, if you want to know which one's your egg one or whatever, you could maybe pick colours or something that will coordinate with whatever will help you remember. That's entirely up to you. And then you change the configuration from eggs. Oh, there you go. It says there milk 5,760, and then wool 8,000 litres. I also think for the price, for the aggro and hassle that it saves, obviously the main colour, I didn't change the main colour, we'll add another 1,000 on, but for the aggro and hassle that it saves, I think it's worth every penny, personally. There you go, that's where you find them. Now, I was hoping beyond hope that you could put this down over the actual point, and as they produced, it would fill the boxes up. It doesn't, unfortunately. I put this one over the chicken one and one over the sheep one. As soon as I sped up time to get them to produce overnight, it came up with that the egg box area was full and the wool pallet area was full. It wouldn't let me do it, so I had to move them out of the way. But what is incredibly cool about these is no more. I get the impression from all the pallet packs and stuff we've had from ModPassion that, I assume it's he, I apologise if it's not, he really hates using pallets and pallet forks because this negates the problem or issues or whatever you want to call it with having to load, that pesky hassle of having to manually load pallets. Or it takes that away. With it loaded onto a suitable trailer, truck, whatever it is, hook lift, back, we can do this. I've now loaded those pallets onto that trailer and take it to the sell point, and I'm good to go. So what I can do is what we'll do is unload that. So that's the wool pallets done. This is game changer. I'm saying it. That's a game changer. If you don't like doing pallets and you find it a pain and it's awkward for loading or whatever, with practice it gets easier. It absolutely does. But if you don't like doing it, that's a game changer. That will absolutely change the way you play. Now, the same with milk. You've got that situation that you could come here with a tanker. So I know you wouldn't necessarily be using pallets normally. It's a nice feature. I do like it. So what we can do, again, we'll hook up. Now, as far as I can tell, it has to actually be on the hook lift trailer or on the back. It can't be on the floor to do this. But what should happen is, when we back up into the space and then press L3, and you know what? There's something about that I find a lot more pleasing than just pulling up with a tanker. I like that. churns on the back. I just think that looks really cool. You kind of feel almost like you are actually delivering your milk rather than just a kind of a faceless tanker, you know? Does that make sense, or does that sound a bit weird? Probably does. So that's the milk one. And then we can do the same with eggs. Now obviously with the chickens it takes a lot more chickens, a lot more time to produce as many egg boxes, but the egg box one does exactly the same thing. Now we do have the egg pallets that you can place down and they will fill up. And you can still do that if you want to. You can have those there. This will just take out of those as far as I can tell, but as it stands at the moment, what we will do is we'll lift it up. Once it's on the back, we'll drive past the egg boxes and it will load them up. Like I said, it's going to take much longer to load up a full trailer load with these. Oh, that's interesting. Do I have to do L3? Ah. Why is that not loading up? Now that's odd, because the other two work perfectly. I'm glad I tested this one out, because I wasn't going to. Let's open the menu. It's not giving me an option like for L3 or... I wonder if this one needs to be closest to the film. I don't think so though. We'll check it. No. Ah. So maybe it's not working for the egg boxes. That may need a bit of a tweak, unless I've done something wrong, but the other two worked perfectly, didn't have an issue with those at all. It was kind of almost an auto-load function, whereas this doesn't want to. Okay, well, I don't want to end on that as, you know, a bit of a disappointment, so let's go back and have a look at this, which looks really nice. It makes me smile. That is it for the mods for today. I apologise, as I always do. I know people say don't have to apologise if it's taken a long time, but there were a lot of options, a lot of things to get through, although there weren't that many mods. I have to say today's mods are awesome. There's some brilliant mods today with some really cool functions, loads of options. I really like them. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free, and if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. As always, thanks for watching.